Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 62. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching, and I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. I say this a lot, and I mean it. Time is our greatest asset, and the fact that you're willing to invest your time and share your time with me truly means a great deal. So I always want to make sure that I'm providing outstanding value for you. Today, I want to have a conversation because Mother Nature is certainly showing us, those of us that live in a seasonal climate, that winter is here and we're entering into a newer season and that the end of the year is approaching. And I want to have a conversation with you about that. I want to ask you a question. I want you to ask yourself this question. Will this be your off season or will this be your peak season? See, the choice is up to you. I know it's tempting, team. I know it's tempting. It's tempting for me. Here we are, early November. We've got, for those of us that are listening to me in the US, we've got Thanksgiving, and then we've got other holidays in December, Christmas, Hanukkah, all of the holidays that happen in the month of December. And it's tempting to fall into the mindset that nobody's doing anything during this time, especially if you're in real estate. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. It's not true. So it comes down to, will you make this your off season? Or will you make it your peak season? I know. It's been a year, and it's really been a year of a lot of work and a lot of pushing and a lot of pivoting and a lot of adjusting and a lot of focus. But this is not the time to take your eye off the ball. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that right now because I've seen it happen. I have been in the real estate industry for over 23 years now. And you see it happen. It happens right around Halloween. One of my mentors used to call it Realtor Rella. At the first sign of a pumpkin, we disappear for the holiday season. And that is what happens a bit where we go into a space of coasting, right? Making it an off season. And we justify it by, we want to spend time with our family. This time of year only happens once a year. I deserve it. I worked really hard. And I don't disagree with any of those things. But I am going to ask you to look at this as an and situation versus an either or situation, where we look at it and say, either I work really hard during the season or I enjoy time with my family and friends. Either I stay super focused or I enjoy the season that I love so much. And that is where we tend to go when we take the mindset of coasting. We decide that it's going to be either or. I can only do this or this. And today I'm going to invite you to think about how we do an and. And I will share with you, when I was in production, I always had really strong fourth quarters and really strong first quarters. And it was because I chose to decide that I was going to enjoy both the season and continue to grow my business and achieve my goals, both. And I will tell you, I was in the minority, and I think that's where we can be a lot of times. So I'm just going to invite you to step into the doing this and that mindset. I want us to keep in mind, especially those of us in real estate, and if you're in another industry, to think about your sales cycle. So here's what I know about real estate right now. Average days it takes to get a buyer under contract from the moment you meet them and they sign a buyer broker agreement or buyer representation or whatever it's called in your state to the time that they close is approximately 60 days. And days on market for listings right now are kind of all over the place. It seems like it's either short 7 days or it's 130 days plus. So we've got a little bit of a slide on that one. But what I want you to think about is the sales cycle really dictates your calendar year, not the actual calendar. So for example, today's November 3rd. And let's just say I'm working with a buyer and my average sales cycle with a buyer is 60 days. A lot of factors go into it, inventory and all kinds of things. But let's just say on average, it's taking me 60 days from buyer agreement to buyer closed. If it's November 3rd, it's really January 3rd, 60 days from now. That's really my calendar. What I do today, so if I secured a buyer today, they're most likely not going to close until January 3rd. So starting today for the buyers, I'm already in the next year because we have a sales cycle. And I think a lot of times we forget that. We think, well, it's only November 3rd. I've got, 58 days left of the year that I can crush it. Well, you can crush it, but it's most likely going to fall into our upcoming year. So pay attention to your sales cycle and get real and get right about that. I still believe that we can get deals closed in 2024. I do. I still believe that there's a chance that there's an average of 60 days for a buyer that means some are quicker and some are longer. So I do believe that with the right strategies, we could still get contracts closed that we have identified right now in this last part of the year. But I'm also focused on what I do now is going to impact me in the next 60 to 90 days. We know that's always true in real estate. So making a decision of either being your off season or your peak season is going to have truly lasting impact on you. And I just want you to consider this. If we decide to use this as our off season and we lighten up on our lead generation and we lighten up on our lead follow-up and we lighten up on the activities that are going to generate business for us because it's the holiday, and we say, hey, we'll start in January. So again, here we are in the States. We have New Year's Eve on December 31st. So a lot of people take that next week off. So if we truly coasted and used this as our off season and didn't pick up again until January 7th, we'll just say for simplicity, what I do on January 7th is not going to most likely close until March 7th or later. So taking these 2 months off is costing you 4 months. You're losing more than a quarter of your sales year. I don't know about you, but starting off with a deficit in Q1 of losing 2 to 3 months in Q1, plus you've lost a couple months in the previous year, you're at a minimum losing 4 months. That's detrimental to a business. So I want you to really think about, how can I do all of this? How can I schedule my time to enjoy all I want to enjoy of the holidays and still keep my business going and be able to open January 1st with enough business to sustain and get me into Q1 on a solid footing. For my one-on-one coaching clients, I like for us to open up business on the first day of the new quarter with at least a third of our goal pending set to close that quarter. Because again, we got a 60-day lag, right? So if I get a third of it done, I have a better chance of finding the other 2/3 starting immediately than if I had to do all of it. So I just want you to think about what you do this last quarter of the year is not only going to impact how you end the year, it's going to impact your first quarter. So let's not lose 4 months. I do believe that people who are out and about raising their hand, wanting to do something over the holiday season are your most motivated clients. If there's not a strong, compelling reason, a lot of people will postpone the buy or the sale of a home until the following year. So this is what I did. I did open houses at a really high level during the holidays. A couple reasons. Thanksgiving, people might come to your city, spend Thanksgiving and have a long weekend without taking any time off of work and start their house hunting trip. I did open houses a lot during the holiday season because, again, any buyers that were out were typically really pretty serious, and any sellers that were willing to list their home during that last quarter were also very serious about getting their house sold. So there's a lot of advantages to positioning yourself to be in the space of activity, peak season, versus putting yourself in the place of off season. I can't stress that one enough. I've seen it happen over and over. The other thing that I love about being in sales over the holiday is, let's just say you're maybe one of those real estate agents or brokers who didn't do the best job of staying in touch with people in our database, previous people that we sold to, people that we know and love in our database, our friends, and all of those great names that you collected. And let's just say we haven't done a great job of staying in touch with them. Holiday is one of the easiest times to re-engage with your database on a really high level. Again, if you're here in the States, we've got Thanksgiving. It's just an amazing time to pick up the phone and call people and tell them what you're thankful for meaning them. Thankful that you know them, thankful for all the business they've given you, thankful for the trust in you, thankful for identifying you as their go-to real estate expert. There's a million reasons that you can call. I don't think anymore people are so offended if you called somebody and wished them a Merry Christmas and they were not of that faith that they celebrated Christmas, that they would be offended. They might correct you, but at the end of the day, the fact that you called and were thinking about them is truly the most important thing. So Q4 for me as a salesperson has always held a really special place because it really does allow you to engage with database at a really high level. And where do we get the bulk of our business, regardless of what industry you're in, is through your database. People you know, love, and people that know, love, and trust you. So it's a beautiful time to reach out and re-engage that database at a really, really high level. The other thing that I love about Q4 is that balance between, remember earlier I said you can either approach this as an either or an and situation. I prefer to approach everything in my business and life as an and situation versus having to make a choice. It's either this way or it's this way. And what I love about Q4 is that you can insulate your calendar. You can do all of the activities you need to do because of the motivation of all of the great things to do during the holidays, whether it's holiday parties, decorating a Christmas tree, joining friends and family to celebrate Thanksgiving, prepping for New Year's Eve, going to all of those great plays and performances and spending time with people because it's just really is the best time of the year, that you can have it all. You can strategically do your business and enjoy your life. It really is possible to do it. So own your calendar at a really high level and think about right now, we're already in 2025. We're pretty close to being in it on both the buy and the sell side right now. And so what we're doing now is going to impact us in 2025. So don't take your foot off the gas. Don't do it. You end up, as I always say, there's no neutral, right? You're going to end up rolling backward. There's just not a healthy way to take your foot off the gas for a couple of months. I was talking to another coach earlier about this, and we're like, would you ever make a decision in July to take 2 months off, July and August, and you would just pick your business back up in September? Would you ever do that? No, you wouldn't, because you would know the ramifications that would have. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to come back in September and not have any business September or October and maybe even November. So why would we do it November, December, and then risk January, February, March? Again, there is nothing worse than starting off Q1 in a gap, meaning a difference between our goal and our actual, where we're behind. It's hard to catch up. It's really hard to catch up. So don't let that happen to you. The other thing that I love doing in Q4 is, in addition to business planning, is just, it is a great time of reflection. I don't care what your thoughts are about the holidays or not. There is just an energy in Q4 in the world. And there's just an energy, if you allow yourself to experience it, that brings a sense of peace or calm. We got a lot going on in the world right now. We got a lot going on in the US. We're getting ready for our presidential election. It's an important election. They all are. We've got interest rate concerns. We've got economic concerns. We've got inventory concerns. But there is something really magical about this time of year. And the magic that I love about it is the season of grace. And I'm going to ask for you to show yourself some grace during this time. And what I love about that, granting yourself grace, is it's a great time to reflect. And I firmly believe this. It's a great time to reflect on your business, on your life, on your relationships, on your income, on your wealth, on all of those things, your legacy. And it's a great time just to reflect on what happened over the last 12 months, keeping in the space of grace and really just reflecting on what went really well for you and what didn't work so well for you. And then asking yourself that one important question that we talked about before. And I think this is really important for everybody, is if you just ask yourself, what's one thing that I could have done differently in my income earning bucket of my business, that if I would have done it, it would have made getting to my goal easier. And it would have made a lot of the unnecessary activities unnecessary. What's one thing that I know that I might have been resisting or pushing away from, or going, I really know I need to do that, but God, the time commitment. I know I should have done that. I just don't have the time. That one thing That one thing that you can identify in those different areas of your life and business could be the one thing that makes your next year powerful, that makes your next year the year that you hit your goal, that makes your next year be the year that you enjoy your business again. And I've shared this with you. For me, I'm identifying the one thing in my business right now, in my coaching business. We've got some other legs of our business as well. But I'm really looking at it and saying, what is the one thing that I resisted? And a lot of it is just the daily commitment to social media, the daily commitment to the marketing that it requires to really grow a company. And what the grace I'm showing myself is I did a dang good job being marketing when that is not my lane. It's not my area of expertise. And now it's time to hand those reins over to somebody else who can take us to the next level. Just get out of your own way. So really spend some time in this season of grace to reflect on what's one thing you could do for your income, what's one thing you could do for your wealth, what's one thing that you could do for your relationship, what's one thing you could do for your brand or your business that would make a difference, what's one thing you could do to create a legacy. It's really simple. And so spend some time. I know for me, we're getting ready to have a pretty big snowstorm tonight here in Santa Fe. And I know tomorrow I'm going to wake up and it's going to have a different energy and a different feel. And that is the time when I get creative. That is the time when I can just connect in nature in a way that allows me to exude grace and reflect and be honest and not judgmental and start plotting what could be different. So I'm going to end this by asking you, you've got a choice to make today. Are you going to make this your off season, or are you going to make this your peak season? I'm going to tell you this with a lot of loving kindness. Less than 20% of us are going to treat this as our peak season. And I want you to consider this. If 80% of our competition, if you will, is going to go off and let this be their off season, it is a season of abundant opportunity for those of us willing to stay connected and to continue moving the needle forward to capture business. And the business that we capture while other people are on their off season, we're in our peak, we will never lose. And they will remember. I promise you, you can make Q4 and Q1 right now be different for you. If you've always started off Q1 in a deficit, change it. Today's the day to make that decision. I'm going to make this my peak season. I think you're going to be surprised what you'll find that you can still accomplish in this current year. There's business to be had that can take place and be closed and secured right now. We're securing contracts for Q1 right now in our coaching world, in group programs, in our one-on-one coaching. We're securing spots. People are prepaying. People are getting ready for their next year. And that if I would have said, we'll wait till January to reach out to people, let them get through the holidays. They don't have money right now that they want to spend on this. If I would have bought into that belief, I would be missing out on tens of thousands of dollars for Q1 for my company. So step into your peak season. It's really cool. It really is, because I know if you choose to treat this as your off season, you're smart enough that in the back of your mind, it's going to be weighing on you, that you're actually not going to enjoy your time off, because in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, I could be, what if, oh my gosh. And you're not present for what's actually happening in this really powerful quarter of the year with all of the holidays. I know when I'm staying really purposeful and present in my business, then when I go to a holiday party or I choose to take the afternoon off to go do some Christmas shopping for myself and my family, that I could enjoy it more because I know I've done what I need to do to secure my business moving forward, versus trying to do it knowing that little voice in the back of your head saying, you're putting a lot at risk, you're not doing what you should have done, and you just don't enjoy the moment as much. So peak season or off season, it's up to you. I'm hoping that you decide to treat this as your peak season. You're worth it. And you're one decision away from setting your Q1 up like you've never done before. As always, if you've got questions, team, just reach out to me directly, Tony@rethink.coaching.com. You can Google me and get my cell phone information and just reach out to me directly. You can go to my website, rethinkcoaching.com. There's a little pop-up box that you can fill out for a free 1-hour strategy call with me. Happy to talk to you about any of this. But I'm just going to invite you to think about how you can make this an and season, also a peak season. You can do it. Got any questions? Let me know. Can't wait to talk to you all next week and find out what you did. Have a good one. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.